You may have noticed that Twitter, or X, now that it's owned by Trump supporter Elon Musk, is facing some kind of exodus. All the lefties are leaving it, and absurdly, we laughed about it last night, the Guardian newspaper will no longer be posting on X because it's too toxic. What they're saying is a right-wing guy who likes Donald Trump owns it. So they're all leaving. Not that many, by the way. And by the way, thank you. Good. It'll be much more fun without you. But what happened today was a very important event. The Clifton suspension bridge quit Twitter, or quit X, for the same reason, saying that it was toxic. Here we go. It says X has been this is the Clifton suspension bridge. It's been a wonderful place to engage with our audience over the past 15 years, but the changes made to the platform in recent times have caused us to reconsider blah, blah, blah. With the rise in inappropriate content and decreasing in meaningful engagement with our followers, we have chosen to no longer post to this account. It's a bridge. I'll tell you what I'm worried about, Isabel, is maybe more left-wing bridges might follow suit. You know, maybe the Severn, or maybe even Waterloo. I'm looking at Tower Bridge. Maybe that's a lefty too. I mean, these bridges, I mean, they're now at the vanguard of this left-wing movement, this rejection of Elon Musk's right-wing politics. I mean, you know, stop the world. It's too mad. I want to get off.
I'm wondering about tunnels, you know, maybe the Dartford Tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we also know that, you know, roundabouts, all these areas that are targeted by the eco-zealots, maybe a bit of that lefty nutterism has rubbed off on some of these locations. You know, motorway gantries, I'm sure they could also find themselves leaving X as well. Bye-bye, guys. We're not going to miss you. The more of you that go, the merrier, because actually, many of you, with the exception of Clifton Suspension Bridge, I've never been trolled by them, but many of these people who are leaving are actually amongst the most toxic on X in any case. Yeah.
Well, I do think that this is arguably, almost certainly, the most stunning and brave gesture, political initiative by a bridge that I've ever seen. So here's to Clifton Suspension Bridge, and whoever posted that, go and get some help. You need to see a psychiatrist. There's something wrong with
it. Funny. I mean, maybe it's just a PR stunt, in which case it is actually quite funny.
It's not, though. I know exactly what it is. It'll be some stupid little lefty who reads The Guardian, who thinks this was a good thing to do, and whoever it was is an utter idiot. Quickly, before we go to break, I wanted to ask you, well, first of all, what did you think of the Work and Pension Secretary, Liz Kendall, saying that we must no longer use the term economically inactive because it dehumanises people who are not in work? Now, I think that we should pay respect to people who can't go to work, who are economically inactive because they're sick or they're disabled or they have to look after a stricken loved one. Yes, of course, of course. But if we're talking about people who are not in work because pretty much they're lazy and don't like working, then I think we should use as many shaming terms as possible. So if economically inactive shames them into getting a job, good idea. Thank you very much, Liz. I think this is a window into the psyche of the Labour Party, that in their world there is nothing better than the public sector giving loads of benefits to people who don't deserve them.
So I actually don't mind if people choose to be economically inactive if they're not drawing benefits from, if they're not taking any benefits, that's fine. You know, you want to not do any work, as long as you're not asking the state to pay for that, then that's absolutely fine. And as you said, it's tedious to have to reiterate this, but just so there can't be any confusion, neither you nor I believe that people who need benefits shouldn't get them. Of course they should. People who are sick and disabled.
Yeah, as I said. Yeah, absolutely.
We have to repeat this, but we do, because there are plenty of people who would like to present it as if we don't hold that view. So all of that said, I don't see what's wrong with calling a spade a spade. And if people are not working and they're choosing not to work and they are taking benefits, then I think we should be pretty clear that we disapprove of that. And I'm quite proud to be economically hyperactive. And maybe we should try to make more people economically hyperactive, because I think it probably leads to being a bit happier.
Yeah. Well, look, as I say, with the exception of the people who fully deserve to be or fully warrant being out of work, as I say, people who are sick, people who are disabled, people who are caring for stricken loved ones, you know, and all the other valid reasons, yes, you know, respect them. But anyone else, I mean, you know, actually, economically inactive, to describe a lazy job dodger, is one hell of a... It's a euphemism. It's a euphemism. And yet Liz thinks it dehumanises people. You know, I wouldn't say... if you're just a lazy person who doesn't want to work and wants to scrounge benefits, then I've got better words for you, better terms for you than economically inactive. You see where I'm coming from?
Has she actually proposed any alternatives? I mean, what is the correct way to describe this group of people?
I don't think she has, but thank you, Liz. Our thoughts and prayers are with you at this difficult time. She's trending on social media for this absurd statement. Before we go to break, very quickly, let me talk to you about... an interesting row that's going on between the Treasury, that is Rachel Reeves's department, the Chancellor of Doom, in terms of her, you know, punishing new inheritance tax for farmers. Farming, the agricultural, the rural communities up in arms about this, because it will basically make it unviable for family farmers to pass on their farm to their descendants, you know, so inheriting a farm will become financially crippling and won't be possible. So many farmers are up in arms about this. Now, Rachel Reeves's department, the Treasury Department, is saying, well, you know, yeah, we understand it's not that bad, though. It only affects 27% of farmers. Pretty big number anyway. Over at Defra, which is the Environmental and Farming Agriculture Department, the Ministry of Agriculture, if you like, they're furious because Rachel's requiring them to spin her numbers, and they've got statistics. They're saying it's not 27% of farmers who are affected by this. It's 66%. So who do you reckon's right? I reckon it's Defra.
I think I'm going to go with the 2/3 of farmers, because the threshold is really relatively low. It's £1 million, isn't it? And £1 million is a lot to all of us. But when you're including both the farmhouse, as if I've understood it correctly, I think that includes the farmhouse and the land and all the buildings, probably all the associated machinery, though I'm not sure about that, but I think so.
It does. It's the entire thing. So £1 million, actually, that is not a particularly sort of expansive farm. That's quite a small...
It really isn't. I mean, that is going to... I would guess that that's going to take in the majority of farms. Of course, you're going to get a lot of sheep farmers, you know, in the Lake District, up north, where, you know, the values of their estates are probably much more modest. But sort of 2/3 sounds about right to me. 27% doesn't sound credible. And as you say, even if it were, that's nearly a third. And I don't think that would be a sensible way to treat our food producers. Yeah.
What we've got going on, though, is an interesting internecine war between two legs of the Labour Party. As I say, the guys and the girls at Defra are furious because Rachel, the Chancellor, and the Treasury are requiring them to spin. Oh, it's not that, it's only 27%. They go, no, we've got the real figures. It's just not true. So Rachel is trying to sort of spin herself as being not quite as awful as she actually is. So we'll leave them to get on with their little war. And again, thoughts and prayers at this difficult time.